And away we go. This is the most recent ACT. It's February 2025. Moving parts. They take the point -410 and they move it 10 units to the right. So what does that do when you move 10 units? Sorry, I have to start over. When you move 10 units to the right, you add 10 to the x, and when you down 4 to the y, you subtract 4. Answer 6, 6. This is a classic STO. They want you to replace x with 2, and they want you to replace y with 3. So what is it? It's 3 times 4, 12 minus 6. Answer is 6. Okay? One thing I like to do here is use the calculator for stowing. So I would go 2 on the calculator. I would go 2 stow x, and I would go 3 stow y, stowing them as 3 and 2. And then here's the problem with this. I got to go backwards. 3x squared minus 2y. There it is, typed straight into the calculator with absolutely no calculation. So there's the answer, 6. Number 3, this would be an equation solver. And we've been over that a bunch in other tests. So I would add 11x to both sides and get 2x. I would subtract 13 and get -4. Divide by 2, x is -2. Answer A. And of course, who likes equation solver? You go math last, solver. And then what was the left side? 9 minus 11x. And you just put the regular old x in. And then in the second one, you would put 13 minus 9x. And then what's the instruction say? Hit F5 twice, once, twice. Oops, what did I do wrong? I must have slid over in my nervousness. Okay, solve, and there's the answer. X is -2. That's for people who hate doing equations. You can always do that. What's going on here? I'm going to rent a personal vehicle at the rate of $10 a day, plus, sounds like a car rental deal, huh? They're going to charge me for the days and the miles. So what am I doing? I am doing Monday and Tuesday, so 2 days at $10 a day. And then how many miles did I drive? 100. I drove 220 miles at that much per mile. So I'm not going to switch over to the calculator. You can do this. It's 2 times 10, which is 20, and 220 times 0.445, and you add those together, and the cost of the car is K rather, 117.90. Going all right for y'all? Excellent. This is another crazy way to ask STO. They're defining something called triangle as a squared plus b minus a over b, and then they're telling me that a is 5 and b is 1/2. So what would I do? I would either do the number crunching here, 5 squared plus 1/2 minus 5 divided by 1/2, which is 10. So it would be, what does this work out to be? D, 15.5. And of course, what's my liking here is I love the STO. It would be 5 STO A and 1/2 is my B. So I'll go 1/2 STO B, and then I don't have to do any calculation, huh? What is it? A squared, so it'd be A squared, where's the square? Plus plus B or minus B? Plus B minus A over B. You want to use fracca? So there it is. So you do A over B. How does that sound? And the answer is 15.5. Turn it into a fraction. I'll do all that review for you now. You could turn it in from a Mathifracka. Use Mathifracka and turn it into that, and then use 3, and it'll turn it into the mixed number that they're looking for if you get confused with the math. How's that sound? Number 6, a lemonade stack. So what am I doing? I'm purchasing lemonade and cups. So these are my purchases. So I add these two together. I am 380 in the hole before I start the game. Now I sell cups of lemonade for 50 cents each, which describes the profit. Well, this 380 is all minuses, because I spent the money to start the business. And then the 50 cents is the profit. So isn't this F? 0.5, 50 cents for every lemonade minus the 380 that I spent. How's this next one go? The three angles of a triangle all add up to 180. So we've got B is 90, and we've got A is 4 times the measure of C. A couple ways you could do that. I just say 5x equals 90, or 5x plus 90 is 180. That's easy. X is 18. Now be careful. What are they asking for? Are they asking for X or 4X? Y'all all have made that mistake before. I know I have. They're looking for C, so the answer is just the 18 that I got. Here's a popular one. I've seen it before. If I have won 11 games and lost 8, my win percentage is 11 out of 19, right? If you take a calculator to that, 11 divided by 19 is the fraction of the games that I've won. So I've won 57% of my ball games. Very good. Now, I have 14 games remaining, which means I'm going to win how many games? I'm going to play 33 games. Now, to win half your games, what's 33 times 50% is, of course, half of 33. I need to win 16.5, so I need to win 17 games. Huh? I need 17 games to have a better than 50% chance. So how many more wins do I need? I have 11. I need 17, so it's 6. A little bit of math gymnastics there. Huh? 9, I always say never put cannot be determined, unless they ask you this. They give us a 0.34 and no other information. So what could the line be doing? It could be going straight up and down. It could be doing anything. So never put this on a test, you hear me? Except for that problem. It's usually not a good choice, but we can't determine the slope from 1 point, huh? What else would I need? I would need a second point, huh? Ratio proportion. Probability is always a ratio, boys. If I say the probability of winning the game is 3 out of 5, 3 is the wins and 5 is the total. So if the probability of me making a free shot is 0.8, that's 0.8 mades for every 1 attempted, huh? So how many free throws should I make in order to make 20? 20 is to x. Cross multiply, 0.8x is 20, and the answer is whatever 20 divided by 0.8 is. They've asked that before, and they've suckered me, and it's 25. So the answer is H. Okay? Math story. Are y'all good at these? You drive to and from school 20 miles per 1 gallon of gas. So that's a ratio proportion, huh? So the trip back and forth is 6 miles. Gas costs $5 a gallon. If you ride your bike to school She rides her bike to and from school for 10 school days. So what's that mean? The ride to school and back is 6 miles, right? So she saves on gas. How's this work? She does it for 10 days, so she saves 60 miles, right? So how many gallons is that? I don't need a ratio proportion. It's just times 3. She will save 3 gallons of gas, which is $15. If you're bad at factoring, great. Use my quad 2002. Set it equal to 0. Why is it a quadratic equation? Because it is got an x squared. So everybody, join in with me in finding quad 2002. And all you have to do is hit the x, 2, 5, and wasn't the c -3 after I moved it? I hope. And the roots are -3 and 1/2. So what are they looking for? Just one of the answers. Oh, x is greater than 0. I missed that. So it has to be just the 1/2. Watch that. I do it all the time and then tell you not to do it. Sokatawa. So here's the Chief program. If you don't know your ratios, you could go to Chief and do it. Here's the angle that we know. So what do I always do? I do it every day. This is opposite. This is hypotenuse. And the third wheel is the so-called adjacent. So what do we want? We want opposite to hypotenuse. So the sine of theta is 2/5, which means if I was solving, I would hit second sine. Answer A. How are we doing so far? I'm a little slow. I'll have to speed up. Time for the average. I love these. They give you a bunch of information and then a bunch of questions, and it's 3 different types of questions. Y'all know what mean means, huh? So I have to add up all these guys, all the times, pain in the neck, huh? And then divide it by 8. I won't insult you by taking out the calculator. I'll just tell you the answer is D, J, 2163. The stadium had a capacity of 5,000 people. What do they tell us? It's 85% full. So this is 5,000 times 0.85. That tells me how many people were in the stands. Huh? So 5,000 times 0.85, and what were they paying? $8 per ticket. So when I multiply by 8, I made $34,000. The answer is B. And then this is an oldie but a goodie. The circular region is divided into a 60-degree angle. Now they gave me the radius, thank goodness, over here. They gave me the radius, they gave me the diameter, watch that, is 240. So the radius is 120. And I don't know if I've used this in years. That's a piece of pizza. Piece of pizza means I'm going to use my pizza program. Geez, I don't even know if I still have it. I do. And all you do in pizza is hit the radius, which was 120, and the angle of the slice is 60. And there it is. The pi is attached, and the answer is 2400 pi f. Okay? Many of you are probably wondering, just do area of the circle and divide by 6, huh? Because you're getting a 1/6 slice of the pizza. I'm rolling. This one, x has to be bigger than y, and x plus y has to be greater than 3. So run through them and tell me. 0, 4 is true, but false for the first statement. Huh? The only one that's going to work is E. The x is bigger than the y, and the sum of them is greater than 3. This is area of a trapezoid backwards. So they're telling me the answer is 20 square feet, huh? I just don't know what this is. So guess what I do when it's backwards? I take my program and go area of trapezoid and cheat by putting in the answers before they are done. So I'll take 13 and 2. So 13 is my base, 2 is my other base, and the altitude running straight down is 5, and it gives me the answer 37.5, which is clearly way too big. So if it's 13's too big, which way am I going to guess? I'm going to guess 6 or 8 for the other one. So let's try 6, 2, 5. I hate when I have to go to the calculator. Whoosh! It gives me the answer 20. I hate going to the calculator on here because I have to erase the test to get there. Okay. Famous question, they ask it almost every test. A square and a rectangle have the same area. So the rectangle is 196. It's real long and real short. 196 times 4. So the side of the square is either the square root of that, because a square is just x times x. So you could just take the square root of that number to the power 0.5 or square root, and you get 28. The other option you would have is to plug and chug and try these answers and times 100 by 100 and see if you don't get it, and then try the next one. Pretty cool. This is a FOIL, so you're welcome to use my FOIL program and plug in the A, the B, the C, and the D. If you don't know that, here's a great usage of it. So if you're a FOIL trouble, go to the program FOIL and simply type in the A, the B, the C, and the D. So it'd be 3, -1, and 2, -5. How's that sound? And that gives you the FOIL sideways, 6x squared minus 7x. I'm sorry, 6x squared minus 17x plus 5. And then, of course, what is the answer? I'm spazzing out. Is you add those numbers. The sum of them has to be -6. Division is subtraction. How many times did the math teacher tell you that? So you subtract n from the power, and you get a to the n plus 1. I love that because it took me 3 seconds to do it, and the test is 60 minutes long for 60 problems. So I just got a freebie. Equation solver, if you spaz out. Great use of equation solver. I didn't spaz out. I times my roots and got 16a squared. The square root of 16a squared is 4a. So what does a have to be? It has to be 4. Should I show you the equation solver? Math last. What was it equal to? 16, huh? And then the two radicals were, I don't put a into the program. I just go 2x times 8x, huh? So I'll put a times if I don't think I need to put the times, but I get 8x, bada bing, F5 twice, whoosh, the answer is 4. Okay? Watch out, probability always means total. So I have 3 red apples, 4 green apples, and 2 yellow apples. That's 9 apples where I come from. An apple is drawn at random and eaten. So guess what? There isn't 9, there's 8. So if I ate a red, there's not 3 reds no more, there's 2. So what is the probability that the second apple is yellow? 2 out of 8. And watch that, that's 2 out of 8 mathafracka. A lot of you would say, oh, 8's got to be the answer in the denominator. Be careful of that mistake. What is irrational? Well, pi is. Huh? Y'all knew that. Pi is an irrational number. How about these guys? Rational, because I could say 10 over 3. Rational, because I could say 12 over 1. Rational, because I could say 4 over 1. This guy, I don't want to tell it to you. It's 2 and all of that over that many zeros, huh? Which would be 1,000,000, I think, huh? Because there's 6 decimals. So all 4 of those guys are irrational, but you, my friend, are irrational. Pi does not mathifraca. One of my favorite examples on the calculator is to go pi and then say, hey, could you mathifraca me? And they're going to say, heck no, I can't. Why? Because it's irrational. This one, I can't help you distribute and add like terms. So we distribute the -2. How good are you at that? Add the like terms. How good are you at that? 3 and 8 is 11. And now distribute the 7, and you get -14x plus 77. Money in the bank if your algebra is good. They love to play with slope. They love to play with slope theory. They love to ask you rise over run. Here's another example. I freaked out like you did when I saw all those graphs. A constant rate of change of 3/2 is only going to happen if what? It's a line, huh? This guy's rate of change is changing from negative to positive. This guy has no rate of change. This guy's rate of change is increasing the higher you go, and this guy is positive and then he falls. So all of those can't have a constant rate of change. One of my favorite students came in this morning and got this wrong. And I was like, what is halfway between 1 and 7? Halfway between 1 and 7 is their average. You add them up and divide by 2, and the answer is 4. So what's halfway between 3/8 and 7/16? If you think I'm going to think of that, you've got another thought coming. What's 3/8 plus 7? Oh, I forgot. 16ths. Add them up. Mathifraca. But that's not the answer. I have to add them up and divide by 2. Mathifraca. Once you use it, it usually stays in fracca. Guy has near perfect score, and he missed that. And I was like, oh no. I wonder what goes through people's minds. I didn't want to belittle or embarrass, but he should be getting that if he's a perfect score or close to it. He's very smart. This is a great use of the LCM. We've seen it a lot in our class. If you have 4 seconds and 6 seconds, it's the LCM of the two numbers. So go down and find LCM. Hit 4 and 6, but you don't have a third number to hit, so just hit one of them twice. And 12 is the answer. 12 is when they'll both flash. Okay? This confused the heck out of me. So when I sound all confident and smart, it took me 1.5 years. First of all, he purchases 42 cubic feet of gravel. So that's 42 feet cubed. And it says up here 1 yard is 27 cubic feet. So I take my yard and divide by 27, and that's how much he purchased in yards, huh? And what does it say? It's $54 per yard. So that's how many yards he purchased. So go 42 divided by 27. And then times it by 54. And he spent $84. If you want to hear a joke, listen to what I did. I spent a half hour saying, all right, here are the dimensions. Y'all know this has got to be 24 because of the leg program. And I spent a half hour calculating the volume because it's 7 feet by 24 feet. And the depth, I think, was 3 inches. So I spent a half hour calculating the volume of his deck, and look at what they did. They gave it to me. So they told me what it was. I spent a half hour calculating that. Area of the patio is real easy. Use the leg program. 7 squared plus what squared is 25 squared. And I hope my boys saw that right away. Huh? That's one of the reasons we do all that trig. The answer is 7 times 24, which is 168 for that. Huh? And then you can use the box program if you need it. I need to, each bag makes 0.4 cubic feet. So to make this step, what's the volume? Y'all know this formula. It's length times width times height. But if you don't, I have a box program that does it for you. And all it does is you enter the length, width, and height. I know it doesn't matter which order they're in. So the volume of the step is 4.5. Now be careful, I always get confused. Do you? Do I multiply? Do I divide? What do I do? Well, 4.5 is the volume, huh? And it makes 0.4 cubic feet for one bag, and I need 4.5 for X bags, huh? And it's at this point I go, oh yeah, I see it now. I'm going to divide 4.5 by 0.4. I don't know why that takes me so much, but it helps me to be a better teacher because I just say write it as a ratio proportion. So the answer is I'm going to need 11.25 bags to the nearest bag. So D is the choice. That was a rough 3 problems for the middle of the test. Now this one, I just take the calculator out. I have a board 72 inches, and what am I going to do? Cut a piece, cut a piece. Now a lot of y'all probably haven't used a skill saw before, but dust flies all over. So the 2 cuts lose 1/8 of an inch. So I type that baby right into the calculator. I'm not doing no fractions. Minus alpha ABC, 35 and 5/8. Minus 27 and a half. I'll just go 27.5, and then minus 1/8. That was the waste. So what is left over when I'm done? 8.75 Matha-Fracka, or alpha y equals 3. I think that's what they want, huh? Do they want 8 3/4? Whoosh. Answer G. You're just going to end up, because you're solving for B, don't you take the A over as add? Now, a lot of people would say you taught us a matrix program, alpha F3, but I'll be honest with you, adding matrices is just adding the pieces. So this one's -1, that one's 9, the last one is 8. So you just bring it over as a plus, and I think the answer is C. I missed this one, got it wrong, plugged in the wrong numbers, and saw that it wasn't the choice. So I got a reprieve. They're looking for the frequency of the people who just took it, not the cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency would be like, hey, I gave everybody an ACT in my class. Next year I gave it again. Next year I gave it again. The cumulative frequency would be the piled up over time. This is, you must score 70 to be efficient. So what's that? 28, 38 were efficient, and not proficient was 22. So it's literally 38 over 22. Matha-Fracka. I did the wrong one, and then I was lucky they didn't have it. They didn't have that as a choice. So I was like, wait a minute, what are they asking? They were asking for the frequency, not the cumulative in frequency over time. A lot of people miss this. 4 friends go to a movie, but there are 5 empty chairs. So I walk in, Levi walks in first. What do I have? I have 5 choices of the chairs I want to pick. You walk in behind me, you don't have 5 choices, you have, and then 3, and then 2. Ironically, the answer is 5 factorial, but you're really missing the times 1 because you don't need a times it by the last guy. There's only 4 people. So my friend put 4 factorial because he just said there's 4 people, but there's 5 choices. So it's 120 is the answer. Misspent youth. I threw a lot of dice. So if you get, yes. So if you get, go tell her all in here, and I can't stop. So if you roll 2 cubes, y'all played dice before, huh? So one has 1 through 6, the other has 1 through 6. What's the highest roll you can get? 6 and 6 make 12, huh? Well, to get 3 or more, that's everything. There's only one roll. It's called snake eyes, huh? 1 and 1 make 2. So only one of the 36 rolls is less than 3, huh? So 3 or more is the other 35 out of 36. Okay. Notice it says the sum is 3 or more. That's going to be everybody. Y'all ever do the dice grid? You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on one dice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the other, and then you mix and match all the rolls. 1 and 1 make 2, 1 and 2 make 3, 1 and 3 make 4, and this is how you decide that 7 is the most popular roll in dice because it's with every combination. You ever do that? So it would be 36 possible rolls. There's only one roll that's less than 3. Everybody else is greater. All right, if you missed this, welcome to the club. You're an elite group because I did too. I went, ratio proportion. 5 is to 4 as x is to 3. Wrong way, Jose. These are the right angles. So the proportion is this guy, not that guy. So this is a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. So the ratio that I missed, you should get right. It should be 5 is to 4 as x is to that guy, 5. Because it's the 2 hypotenuses that you're ratioing. Huh? So what's that going to be? Cross multiply 4x is 25 and x is 25 over 4. Guess what Goonball me put? A, because I did not realize that it's a 3, 4, 5. All right. Domain. Well, if you know anything about domain, you know that what's inside the radical has to be greater than 0. What's inside the radical has to be greater than 0. Otherwise, you're ripping the I out. So x has to be what? Greater than 3. I'm rolling. Oh, the famous f of g of x. Guys, if you haven't done it, do it now. You replace the g of x with itself. You copy the g, and then plug it into f. Everybody got that? Replace the g, plug in the f. That should be on everybody's hit list for the -8 + 3 for the test. This one really bothers a lot of people. It's the adding the fractions. Well, if you're adding the fractions, the first thing you want to do is take that 4 out of the bottom. Minus should be plus a minus. That's the other thing you should worry about. And that should be your denominator, huh? Which means the common denominator is 4 times y plus 1. Which means you have to multiply this guy by 4. You get 4y minus 4. And this guy by nothing. So it would be minus 2y plus 2. You end up getting 2y, I'm going to roll into the next problem, minus 2 over 4 y plus 1. And furthermore, you factor out the 2 again, and you get 2y minus 1 over 4y plus 1. Finally, the 2 cancels with the 4. That was a hard problem. The answer is K. We do continue. Alrighty, how we doing so far? We talk about this in trigonometry all the time. It's called the wheel, huh? So if the wheel has a radius of 1, what's its circumference? The circumference, sounds like trig, is 2 pi, huh? And then the wheel of your car, every rotation sends you 1 circumference. So 2 revolutions sends you 2 circumferences. It's 2 times 2 pi. Ooh, this one was nasty. It has, the pizzas are all different types. Each boy ate 5 pieces. Well, if I'm at that party, what pizza am I going after? I'm going after the first one. Why? Smaller cuts, fewer pieces means more pizza. So if I want the most pizza, I'm going to eat 5 of that first one, huh? But they don't let me. They say I've got to eat 3 different types of pizzas. So I'll teach them. I'll eat 3 of these and then 1 of the other ones. So it's 3 out of 6 plus 1 out of 7 plus 1 out of 8. And again, don't be confused by my confidence. Please don't be confused that I knew that so fast. I struggled through that as well. Oh, x to the 0 is what, guys? 1. So it goes bye-bye. So the y, what's z to the minus 1? The z goes downtown, huh? So y over z has to be greater than 1. Cross multiply, y has to be greater than z. I got a kick out of A, B, and C, all asking you about x. X don't matter. Why? He cancels out. So there's no way that x can be the answer. X to the 0 goes bye-bye, huh? Hey, there it is again. Slope definition. So all these words, it's how much tip I got per check. Makes a line a best fit or regression. They give me the slope and the intercept, huh? And what does slope mean? For every $1 increase in the check, the y goes up 16 cents. That's what slope means, huh? If I say y equals 2/3 x plus 7, for every increase of 2 of the x, rather the other way around, for every increase of 3 of the x, the y would go up 2, huh? Change. 12 feet is not 12 feet, it's 4 yards, huh? And 18 is not 18, it's 6 yards. 6 times 4 is 24. And how much am I paying? $10 per square yard. So the answer is 240. Sometimes they get pretty basic at the end, and sometimes they get downright ugly. Y'all know inverse function. What do? You switch the y and the x. So x equals y to the 5th, which means y to the 5th equals x. You solve that by taking the 5th root. So it's x to the 1/5 power. This one took me a day and a half because they're asking for, it accelerates and the car basically averaged 30 miles per hour for 15 seconds. So it's 30 miles per hour, 30 miles in 1 hour. So how long is it going to go in 1 second? So 1 second is there's 60 minutes in an hour and 60 seconds in a minute. So I have to divide by 3,600, huh? Because there's 31 hour has 3,600 seconds. Y'all done that division before, huh? So that's how many miles I'm going in 1 second. 30 divided by 3,600. But I'm not doing this for 1 second. I did it for 15 seconds. So I times it by 15 and I get that. Okay? And it's 60 miles an hour. Well, that's just going to be doubled, huh? So 60 miles an hour divided by 3,600 is that far, huh? For 15 seconds. So I got 0.125 and 0.25 added together, and I get that answer. I bet I have to math a fracca. It's 3/8. Okay, tons of words, and they got you with the accelerating. The accelerating matters, but not in counting the total distance. Ooh, this one's sneaky. A minus B is 5. Oh, you gotta be a sneak. Are y'all sneaky? Take the 7 and factor it out, huh? So C is 7A minus 7B minus 9. Are y'all sneaky? Take the 7, and how much is A minus B? 5. So the answer is 7 times 5 minus 9, 26. SOHCAHTOA. Sine is 1/2 and tangent is negative. We've done enough trig. Y'all should know that that means we're going into the second quadrant. Sine is 1/2, which means this is square root of 3. So the cosine would be negative square root of 3 over 2. Why negative? Because the tangent was negative. If tangent is negative and sine is positive, that means we're in second quadrant. Almost done. This one reflected across the x-axis. How many graphs did we do, boys? What's that do? It makes a negative in front. If you don't know your i's, you're saved by the calculator. Alpha y equals 2 plus 3i. I is second decimal. Over I. Gets it right every time. 3 minus 2i is the answer. That's not me providing it. That's provided by you. Average is total. So 30 members of the class, and Mandy actually should have scored 5 points higher. That means the total goes up by 5 over 30 tests. 5 over 30, matha fracca. If you've ever done 3x3 systems, you know your job is to turn them into a 2x2. So if you add the first two together, what do you get? 3x minus 2y, and the z goes hasta la vista. So x plus y is 1. I have a program called Simul for this. Many of y'all know how to do it without, but you could use Simul and type in 3, negative 2, 18. And what was the second one? 1, 1, 1. 1x plus 1y is 1. So x is 4 and y is negative 3. And I erased this too soon. I got to go back and find z. Huh? They're looking for z. So I got to plug in x is 4. So this would be 8. What was y? Negative 3. So z, 5 minus z has to be 0. So Z has to be 5. Almost done. Y'all been patient. Oh, it's a biggie. We want X over Y to be as big as possible. So I want X to be what? Big. And I want Y to be small. So I want the biggest X, which is 1, over the smallest Y, which is 1/8. So it's 1 divided by, open parentheses, I think you need 2, or do your fracca, 1/8 squared. I think you need to do it that way, but y'all know the flip spin move, it's 64. Hey, what about these triangles? Well, it's a square, which means all 4 sides are equal, and all these things mean that all of these are equal. So every one of these guys has the same altitude and the same base. So how many triangles are equal to this? All of them. They all have the same altitude running up and down and the same base, which is that little bit. So it's everybody 5. Here we go. You got to get this one. The side length of the square is 14, which means these are all what? Which means this, you can use the hypot program, and you're going to get the square root of 98. You guys in pre-calc know this is 7 radical 2. So what is the area of the square? Inside is 98. So it's 14 times 14 minus 98. Don't tell me I did all that and the answer is just 98, which is what the inside was. So katoa, but we knew that, huh? Sine of 30, so you have to drop the altitude, huh? So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So cross multiply, and you get 4 times 1/2. So the altitude here, boys, is 2. Formula for the triangle is 1/2 altitude times base. 2's cancel, and the answer is 6. Okay? I'll revisit these in a minute. This is about the box. Y'all might not remember this. So this is a hyperbola. The x is at 3, and the y is at 2, but we don't go in a hyperbola to the negatives. We just do that. Does anybody remember the box? You drew the box, and that was your asymptotes. Well, they had a rise to run of the y root over the x root. So the rise to run is 2 over 3. So let's look at our choices. Is F right? No. F is an ellipse. It's got a plus. Is H right? No. Now it's between these 3, and one of them has a y over x of 2 over 3, and that's here. You see here, the y's are 3 to 2 ratio. So when you drew your box, you would do it a 3 to 2. All right, good thing I saved time on the test, because I couldn't think of any way to do this. So guess what I did? I made up numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, what's the mode of this list? The mode would be 3, huh? Median, y'all better listen to this. There's one of those, 3 of these. So that's 1, 4, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 16 people. So the median is between the 8th and the 9th scores. Y'all heard of that? So the median is right here, because there's 8 below it and 8 above it. So the median is 3.5. And then I did the mean by taking 1, 1, 3 2s, 4 threes. So can I do that in my head? That's 1 plus 6, 7, 19. And then 3 fours is 12. And then 1, 2 fives, 1 6, 1 7, 1 8. So add those up. I got 41, 47, 54, 62. So 62 divided by 16, which was greater than 3.5. Okay, 62 over 16 is greater than 3.5. So all of that to get the answer. The mode is less, the median is more, and the mean is the greatest. Probably couldn't have done all that while you're running out of time. But the good news is sometimes with the programs and experience, I work faster. What's this? There's a length, a width, and a height. Doesn't matter what they are. But that weighs W, huh? Well, if I times everybody by 4, the block is going to be what? 4 times 4 times 4 bigger. 64 times bigger. So what? It's J. 64 times bigger. And believe, that's all, folks.